For brands looking to grow on Amazon, I wanted to talk about the only 4 levers relevant to your growth on Amazon. I see so many people overcomplicate this. It really comes down to the 4 levers that I'm going to mention in this video. My name is Jassim Isa. I'm the CEO and founder of Voadera. We've sold over $100 million on online marketplaces like Amazon, Walmart, etc. Over the past few weeks, actually, I've been talking to my team about how we can systemize and simplify what we do to grow brands on Amazon. We've been doing this obviously for around a decade, and I wanted to kind of work on this. So we actually built a 4x4 Amazon growth system. So it's basically 4 pillars for healthy, stable foundation for brands, and then 4 levers layered on top of that for scalable growth. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 4 levers. I still didn't do anything about the 4 pillars, but like and subscribe. I'll be releasing it soon, so make sure you're here to watch that. What are these 4 growth levers that I'm talking about? The first one is traffic. So traffic is basically all your customers finding that product. I'm going to be breaking down each one more specifically. I just wanted to do a high level overview right now. The second one is CTR. And these are in order of like sequencing how the customer journey is. So are customers clicking on your product after they see it? The third one is conversion. So this is where after they click on your product, are they buying it? Is the full process through? And the last one, and this is one that a lot of brands actually forget about, but for us, one of the most important is LTV. And it's not just about consumables. It's people like it's not that limited. The scope is not that limited. I'm going to be mentioning more about this later, but I wanted to put that out there because I see people say, "Oh, my product isn't a repeat purchase, so this is not applicable to me." So even if it is a repeat purchase product, people miss the second aspect of this, which I'll get into later. Now let's break down each of them. So the first one is obviously traffic. So this is a very important one. If your product isn't getting seen, nothing else matters. You're not going to get conversions. You're not going to get LTV. So obviously we start with this one. So what is traffic broken down to? It's 2 simple things. It's really relevancy and impressions. And relevancy leads to impressions. What is Amazon usually initially based on your SEO? What are they connecting you with? And I made a detailed video on each of these sections on how to improve them. I did a growth series. You can find it here on traffic. Actually, the one that I still didn't do is LTV, and I'll do that soon in the future. But basically, indexing, all that kind of stuff is also within this. So what is Amazon indexing you for? How are you relevant? You can use mini tools online. We have no affiliation with them, but like Datarova to see what you're ranking on keywords, because that's how often customers are seeing your product. So are you being seen by Amazon? And one of the biggest actually factors within this is within being seen on Amazon is de-indexing. And this is one of the, like, just to give an example, we had a supplement product because one of the alt texts, it was like hidden, it had weight loss. And it turns out that was a restricted term. When the prospect came to us, they didn't know about this partner. They weren't indexing. They didn't know why. They were just getting organic sales. They weren't searching up for main keywords because Amazon didn't like this keyword. So once he took it out, traffic boosted up because now it's obviously being seen by more people. Another thing to keep in mind for traffic, actually, it's one of the most common black hat, so like techniques like for competitors to try to take you down, is to change the category classification of your product into an adult product. You can't do ads for that. You're going to be seen much less. So you're kind of going to get quote unquote canceled as it's known once that happens to you. So the category attribution is very much related. It's like a deal breaker to properly getting the relevancy and indexing. But outside of that, obviously you have to make sure that Amazon is connecting you in the right web of relevancy and you're getting impressions for that. So that's what it starts with. The second one is actually click-through rate. And I like this one a lot because I feel like very often it's one of the lowest hanging fruits and very underutilized by many people. And click-through rate is actually fairly simple. 80% of it comes down to the title and the so there's other stuff, but you can't control them as much, or they're not as influential. Some of them is like ratings and reviews. You can't change those on a whim. Other ones that you can't, like Amazon coupons, badges, you can change those, but I'm not going to get into that too much. Really, the main factors that we test and we do A/B testing, whether within Amazon or external softwares, is the title and the main image. And even the main image, I would say, is even much more important than the title, actually. And this is where we see a lot of people underperforming. They're just putting a standard picture of the product. They're not putting it in use. They're not making it bright. There's so many stuff. I also made in the growth series of video on improving CTR and some of the stuff that we work with. But this is where we see the biggest lift. So just changing something very simple. One of my favorite tests that I love actually for CTR is putting your hand basically on, so opening the PDP, the listing, and put like one of my friends, I never forget this test. He did it with me a few years ago. He basically put his hand on all the description, the title, everything. And he put on one of our products, like, what's going on here? So he put on here, he's like, tell me what this product is in 2 seconds. And if you can't say what the product is in 2 seconds, then you have a very poor main image. And that's one of my favorite tests to use. Make sure it's mobile optimized. There's a lot of details in here. I'm not going to get into it specifically. The third one is conversion rate. This is where you're looking at your listing. Is everything optimized for a seamless journey for a customer to buy? There one of the actually things that I like for a conversion rate to think about it is each customer has like an internal checklist that's subconscious as they're buying something. So one of the examples that is very honed into me that I use with my team often is, for example, a mom buying something for her kid. So we should have a baby on the way, thankfully. And I was watching her buy some things on Amazon, and I'm seeing her scroll through things. And I told her, like, listen, walk me through your process, just speak through it. And one thing that I noticed is like, okay, she's pressing on something. The first thing she's looking for is safety. So if you're not including safety documentation or like organic or non-hazardous or etc., some of these words in the either second or third images, don't hide them in the bullet points. Almost no one reads those. Even in the mobile, they're all the way down. Second or third image or somewhere over there, even better in the title, if there's a certain UVP, then you're very likely to not pass the mental checklist of your customer for whatever that is. That's why it's actually, we focus a lot on understanding our customer and the decision process that they go through to go through it. So that's the third one. And the fourth one, which has lately honestly been our favorite, is LTV, lifetime value of a customer. How much are we getting from that? And there's more than, this is mainly broken into two ways. And this is the one that people forget. So the first one is a common one, SNS, subscribe and save, reorder rate, also known as. That's one that a lot of people know, and there's obviously a lot of even optimization within that. But the second one is average order value. We see people optimize this for Shopify a lot, upselling, etc. But it's very, very underrated within Amazon. There's so much within this. We actually had a full brand that we grew from $44,000 a week to $66,000 a week, just focusing on AOV. That's it. We grew the average order value from 1992, I think, to 2206, like 11%. You can watch the sequence here, but it's extremely underrated. And the AOV, there's so much within it. There's multi-basket analysis. Now Amazon lets you do VPBs, virtual product bundles. Another program is ABB, anything in the buy box. There's so much classifications within this to grow the average order value, whether it's coupons of buy one free, whether it's, there's a lot of like creating the appropriate bundles, but we just like multi-pack bundles is another one that we're looking on. So there's a lot of non-direct ways that you can increase the average order value of your cart. And then once you increase the LTV, whether that's through reorder rate, and I'll get into reorder rate a little bit now, or through AOV, once you increase that, you can spend more on CAC. So what is CAC? Cost of acquisition. You can afford to pay more to get a customer because you're getting them more frequently. A nice example that I like is Starbucks can outspend all their competitors for acquiring a customer, whether that's ads or TV ads or whatever. They're making more from their customers in the long term. The average, I think, LTV of a Starbucks customer is 14,000, I think like $300. So you can imagine, so that means even if they pay $10,000 to get a customer, which is crazy, they're not paying anywhere near that. But even if they paid that, they're still making more because eventually the customer over enough long period of time is going to get it back. So then now let's go to the reorder rate. So this is subscribe and save. The most basic one is SNS coupons, but that's very surface level. That's a no-brainer. If you have a console, you have to have that on. But within that, there's testing which SNS coupon fits best with your customer. We're running tests very intense. I'm actually planning to do a video on this soon as well, but it's unbelievable the difference it can make from category to category. Like just the difference between the dollar amount and the percentage amount. Some categories, the percentage amount is better. Some categories, the dollar amount is better. So understanding which one is better. Is it a 10% let's say you tried a 10% SNS versus 30%. What's the CAC to LTV on each one? Which one is more? And these are all tests that we're running 2-3 weeks at a time to find that perfect sweet spot for the perfect coupon to run the best thing. So that's a very high level overview on the 4 levers. Everything within growth on Amazon falls within these. Knowing the 4 levers is one thing. Knowing the sequence to implement, like you're going to have so much improvements on each one of these 4 levers to improve it. Whether you need to fix your main image, whether you're not getting impressions. So knowing which one to fix and knowing where the bottleneck lies in your throughput is where you need an expert to analyze it, and that's where we spend most of our time for our brands, because there's going to be so much improvement. Like just within CVRO, improving bullet points. But if your main image sucks, no one's seeing your bullet points. No one's pressing on your listing. That's what frustrates me so much, is not understanding the sequence and ordering these things appropriately. And that's where the real money lies, is making sure you're mapping the market, seeing where competitors are, and then seeing which one you should address first and focus on that. Knock one at a time and then stack wins together. That's what we did with this product over here. We basically was very low ranked and we grew its sales. The first thing we did was the main image. Then we improved the ads for impressions, because if we're getting impressions but we're not converting them, then it's not worth it. But let's say, just as another example, the supplements product that we had. We ran ads, but it wasn't getting organically indexed for the certain keywords. I think the keyword was what was the keyword? I think it was like effective workout or something along. It was a very important. We had a very high SV, search volume. But the point is that if we ran ads, we would have just wasted money, because we're going to get PPC sales, especially for an SKC, single keyword campaigns, but we were never going to get organically ranked because of that weight loss prohibited keyword term use. So imagine if we ran all that money in ads, we were never going to get organically ranked. It would have been all a waste. So we had to fix the category indexing issue first before we ran ads, or even before we did like optimize the premium A+ content, because what's that going to do for me? No one's seeing my listing anyways. It's not indexed. So that's why we have to understand where it's going. For example, let's talk about LTV. I want to make sure there's an SNS coupon before I run ads, because I want the customers to see the SNS coupon so I can afford more on ads, because I have a higher LTV. So just understanding the sequencing, where you lie. But maybe on the other hand, is it more important to run an LTV test for SNS coupons, or should I increase my AOV based on multi-pack bundles? And that depends on the category, depends on the product, but that's where the real expertise lie, and that's where really solving the problem is, and just ensuring that you're sequencing it appropriately. That's what will really separate the 8-9-figure brands from the 6-7-figure brands, is just doing stuff randomly. So that's one thing that I've just been learning more and more as we're growing these brands on Amazon for our partners and people that come join Voadera. If you enjoyed watching this video, you actually might have enjoyed how we fixed one of our brands. They had a lot of hijackers on listing, unauthorized resellers, how we took them out. So make sure to watch that video. It's going to be part of the 4 pillars. So subscribe to see some more on that. And if you're a brand doing over $1 million in sales, come check us out at Voadera.com. Schedule a strategy call, talk to one of our experts, see if you can make a fit. Even if you're doing less, I'm going to keep dropping our real insights and values into these. So drop a like, comment if you have any questions. Someone will respond to you, and make sure to subscribe to see more of these.